It's about 11 o'clock in the morning here on Friday, July 31st, 2026. So this is the last day of July. In terms of weather, it looks like we're getting 100-degree days for this week. Most of the days, 100, 101, something like that. Not very much, over 100. And we have probably all of August is going to be hot. It might cool down near the end of August. We might have hot weather into September, just judging on the few years that I've lived here and done this stuff. I wanted to talk about goatweed really quick and dispel some myths, I think. So I heard on the Shepherdess, she's talking with Mr. Ebel. I think it's Carl Ebel. I've actually been to his ranch. He invited people to come look at his ranch. It's a beautiful ranch. He's trying to do native grasses, and he has a system. It's very different than Greg Judy's system. I'll just put it that way. But very, very good results. And if I didn't get much learning from him, which I got plenty learning from him, there was other people at that little get together that I learned from, and it really inspired me to keep going. But he mentioned that the goatweed in this particular area, and the Shepherdess is up here. She's very close to where I'm at. Mr. Ebel's very close as well. This is I know that I think parts of southern Oklahoma have goatweed problems as well, but just wanted to walk you through about what happens if you don't do anything about the goatweed except rotational grazing. And I'll give you a quick history. So the first year we mowed pretty much the entire pasture sometime in late September, which is probably too late because it's already gone to seed. And then the next year I mowed half the pasture, partially because of logistical reasons and partially because I wanted to do an experiment. And the result of the experiment was that the area that I did not mow had very little goatweed the next year, but the area I did mow had lots of goatweed. So I was pretty convinced at that point that mowing doesn't really do much. I've never chemically treated the goatweed here. I do not plan on using any herbicides. I don't even use insect stuff around my shop that I have near the north end of my pasture. I even thought about using diatomaceous earth for different things, and every single time I think about putting it out, I'm like, nope. I'm not going to put it out. I might put it around the dog's dish to keep the ants out, but that's about the limit of what I might do. I'm very, what's the right way to, very conservative in that I don't want to mess up nature's ecosystem. And my belief, the theory, the belief, the idea, the assumption, without proof, without evidence, is that nature can figure this thing out on her own. And I'm just here to kind of nudge nature in the direction I want her to go. And the direction I want her to go is to make me a lot of money with cattle and sheep, right? But this is the easternmost part. I'm a little bit, I'd say I'm about a third way south of the middle line. So I'm in the southern, I'm probably in the southern third of my pasture here. And this area is not too bad where I'm at. The grass is pretty decent here. I think this is mostly Bermuda grass. There's some other grasses in here too that's probably like some kind of Indian grass, or I don't know all the grasses I'm looking at, but you can see the goatweed is just everywhere here. But if you look at the leaves of the goatweed, it's really struggling. They're just having a hard time. There's a lot of little pieces of goatweed that it's like they're barely alive. You know what I mean? And it's just having the time of its life, just trying to survive out here. But the theory, the idea was that represented in the interview that where the goatweed gets really thick, the grass doesn't grow. And he did mention that if you disturb the soil, or if the grass isn't very good, you're going to get a lot of goatweed, which I think that's true. And let me just walk you through here and show you what I mean. A good grass, it gets a little better here. You can see the grass has a nice dark green color in some places. That's what you want to see. It means it's getting all the nutrients that it needs. It is hot. My understanding is beyond a certain temperature, Bermuda grass just kind of shuts down. It just takes a nap. It doesn't really do much. And you can see here, let's see, I had the sheep here probably 2 or 3 weeks ago. Maybe a month ago, I don't know. But anyway, I'm getting to a part of the pasture where I see a lot of this grass. And I'm going to call that Indian grass. It could be orchard grass. It could be something else. It's some kind of bunch grass. You know what I mean? And you can see here, like, oh my goodness, we're swimming in goatweed, right? So I'm gonna point the camera this way so you can see, like, it's just an ocean of goatweed. That's all that's out there until about halfway mark to the other side. But then you look down and it's like, well, it's not that bad. Lots and lots of grass in between the goatweed here. The goatweed gets kind of annoying for setting up wire. You know, still pretty decent grass. Okay, now we're getting a lot of this bunch grass. And this stuff was definitely grazed by the sheep, but it's already recovered. I can let it go a little longer. I'm pretty sure that's Indian grass. The seed head said it's Indian grass. Okay, and now we're getting into, like, okay, the grass is getting thicker. It's a different kind of grass now. This is not Bermuda grass. This is something else, right? Okay, and now there's like dead areas between the bunches of grass. Let me get out of the shadow here. A bunch, and in between is just like mostly dead. More goatweed, right? But you can kind of see what's happening as I'm moving forward. It's like the goatweed just disappears. It becomes much thinner. I think that's because of perspective. That's the way you're looking at it. The goatweed is a little bit taller than the grass. And so when you look out towards the horizon, it looks like you have more goatweed than you really do. You know, now I'm standing in a spot and you can see where the side-by-side is where I started. It looks like it's swimming in goatweed. You see? But it's not. There's quite a bit of it, but it's not. Now, if I go a little bit further here, we get lots of bunch grass. And there's some, I don't know what exactly that is. Now the ground is the ground is just not as good here. It really is not as good. And you can see the goatweed is growing up between the bunch grass. The goatweed is really struggling too. It's not able to get enough water and moisture. The heat's probably causing some problems for it too. You know? Let's just keep going a little bit further. I'm going to show you because it's not all good news, you know. I think one of the things that YouTube or whatever watching videos does is people tend to show the better parts of their pasture, or at least I do. I'm kind of embarrassed. Here we go. Like, what is this doing here? This spot of ground is almost completely dead. You know. Is that some kind of clover down there? That's something. I think that's that weed that only grows where nothing else will grow. Anyway, it's pretty good here. I'm gonna go a little bit further. Okay, now we get to a long stretch of dead. Where did goatweed go? Right? I thought goatweed grows where nothing else will grow. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes nothing grows. I'm going to get Bahia hay, the hay supplier guy. He explained that the Bahia puts down a lot of seeds and it'll take over your pasture. I was kind of like, well, there's certain parts of my pasture where I wish I had something growing. This is one of those parts of the pasture where if my whole ranch looked like this, I'd give up. I'd just say this is it. Now, granted, I think one of the reasons why this spot doesn't do so well is because I get pretty good spring grass growth here. Okay, but that's only for a few weeks out of the year. I need the summer grasses. If I can push a button, kill all the spring grass, but double the amount of summer grass I have, I'd do it. You know? But you can see that, like, in areas where not much is growing, goatweed doesn't grow at all. And the point I wanted to make here is that this is what doing nothing for goatweed does, except rotational grazing. This is 2 or 3 years of doing this where I just ignored the goatweed, you know. I think the goatweed has a valuable role in your pasture. I think it provides shade. I think it provides cover. I think it'll grow in places that grass doesn't grow very well and help break up that soil and bring carbon and nutrients and life. The animals don't like to eat it. I've seen the cows eat a little bit of it, not very much though. And it just seems this part of the United States, this is where goatweed likes to live. If I were to wake up one morning and all the goatweed were dead, I would kind of be upset because that's a sign that something else is going on, something not good. And I know that the goatweed is associated with grass. It tends to grow better with the grass, as you can see here. Like where it's doing the best, the grass is doing really well too. So I'm not too concerned about it. I like the fact that I have things growing versus not growing. And if it's goatweed or some other weed, I should mention, like this part of the pasture and the trees here a couple of years ago, we had thick weeds that were like 8 feet tall. I don't remember what the weed was called, but the next year it was completely gone. And that's my experience with weeds, is they tend to come in strong one year and the next year they're gone. I think weeds serve a purpose. They're kind of in between nothing and grass. And I don't know that I would be better off if I mowed it or put chemicals down. I don't think I would be better off. I think it serves a good purpose. Plus the sheep can take shelter in it. They can get some shade in it. So anyway, that's the goatweed. If I've dispelled some myths for you, if I've given you some ideas on what you might want to experiment in your pasture, just remember that I've only been doing this for a few years, and Mr. Evil has been doing this for 20 years. So if you don't know what to do, listen to him. Don't listen to me. You're probably better off listening to the guy that's done this for a long time. I'm just providing some data, you know. So guys, have a great day. Take care and bye-bye.